What's happening, YouTube? You're in the building with your boy Lamont, your boy Larry, the Avengers of Life Games and Current Culture. And we've got breaking news that was discussed to me by the living legend himself, Larry. Larry, tell us what the breaking news is, and I got a news clip to show everyone.
So right after the markets closed today, Elon Musk came out and announced that they are going to do a 5-to-1 stock split with Tesla. So right now, Tesla was actually down at closing. They were down around 1,300 and something. After market trading, they've gone up around, last time I checked, they were up like $40-something back, putting them back over $1,400 a share. Right. And so on August 31st, they're going to start trading at the adjusted price. I have no idea what's going to happen with the stock between now and then. I can only imagine that the stock price is going to probably get run up to, you know, $1,700. I don't know. It's going to be crazy. I would not be at all surprised if tomorrow that stock hits at least $1,550 tomorrow. But when it splits, it's going to split 5-to-1, which is going to make it much more affordable for a lot of people to get in. Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting to see how this thing plays out.
Let's give them some context, and then we'll get back into what we think is going to happen. So first thing I want to mention to people, if you've been following this live stream since March, you heard it here first from me and Larry when other people were saying, sell stocks, don't buy Tesla. You heard me say, run out and buy Tesla right now. And I probably would not have felt that way if I didn't own the vehicle. When I bought the vehicle, I realized it was more than just a car. It was basically technology on wheels. So I seen the power of the innovation. And that's what preempted me to knowing that the stock had long-term gain. And I knew that while it was cheap during the dip, it was a great time for you to buy it to have long-term growth. But with this split happening, let's define it a little better for you. Here's a little news clip, and then we'll finish this video off. And there are some controversial statements made in this news clip because too many people love to hate on Tesla. Take a look.
They really do.
Get to the news on Tesla that I mentioned at the top of the show, announcing a 5-for-1 stock split. We are seeing the stock rise in the after-hours session, of more than 7% gain at this point. Phil LeBeau's got the details. Phil.
Hey, Melissa, this is something that a number of people have talked about possibly happening, although I heard people say 3-to-1 or 4-to-1. No, Tesla's board has approved a 5-for-1 stock split. So here's what's going to happen. This is effective starting on August 21st. So that's when you will see it take effect. If you're a shareholder as of October 21st, that's when they'll do the calculation and basically split your stock into 5 pieces there. And then it actually starts trading on the 5-to-1 basis starting on August 31st. And as you mentioned, the stock moving higher. What? It's up 6-7% after hours after this announcement came out. So in the eyes of a lot of people, this is not a surprise given the fact that as the stock got up here into that $1,400, $1,500 range, a number of people I talked with said, boy, if they had this back down in that $200 to $300 range, you could bring even more people potentially into the stock. And that's why we're seeing the reaction that we're seeing.
I guess. I mean, the math of it, obviously, it does not create any value, but that people think it creates value, so therefore it does. It's kind of ridiculous, especially since we've seen that you can do, partial shares now. You can do trading with little or zero cost commission. So I don't know. I mean, I get that it works, and so why not do it? The other thing is stocks that split have tended to be doing well anyway. So there is that sort of bias. And conversely, stocks that do reverse splits haven't been doing well.
I mean, sure. Yeah, maybe it will. I agree with Karen. It's absurd. There's nothing that's changed.
I'm on board, too. I'm on board with you guys. So, I don't really get this 6% rise now, but, so be it. Here we are.
Come on, Mel. So be it. But here's the thing, is that human beings like to buy a whole amount of something. We find it in the Bitcoin world. Oh, I want to buy a whole Bitcoin. I want to buy 100 shares, a full lot of Tesla, and I can't do it at $1,500. It's absolutely absurd, but human beings can be absurd. So if it works, good for the company, I guess. They created value out of thin air for the time being. But investors at home should understand nothing changed with this company. Nothing whatsoever changed with the fundamentals of this company. Maybe you get some more people on Robinhood buying in, but I'm not buying Tesla on this news. Let's put it that way.
Sure.
The absurdity of it is but it speaks volumes as to what's going on. And, this is I'm going to get added for this, but I think for a lot of people, they'd rather be long 5 shares of a $200 stock as opposed to 1 share of a $1,000 stock. I know there's an absurdity to that I can't explain, but I think that's just human nature. And I think that's what's going on here. And obviously the same things happened with Apple. And I bet you if we asked Ken Show, I don't know if he still works for the network, but I think if we asked him, and to go back and look throughout history of stock splits, I'm sure most of these stocks do very well on that announcement. So maybe there is something to it.
Yeah.
Larry, let me take this one first, okay? For those of you that understand how Tesla has been under the microscope, they've been against the 8 ball the whole time, not just as a stock, but as a company. And without going in and taking personal digs at the 3 people that was on that panel, I'm going to say that they are absurd. And here's why I'm going to say that. Stock investing is also psychology. Psychology is also, if something costs less, I'm in a better position to afford it. If something costs less, I'm in a better position to afford it. They are ultra conservative in their thinking. They're not thinking about today's investors. And there are a lot of people who don't even have access to brokerages that do fractional shares. I mean, I guess you could go get it if you want it bad enough, but there are a lot of brokerages that don't do it. And they also was double speaking in the midst of everything they were saying. They sat there and told you what me and Larry said a few videos ago. When stocks split, there's a run up to the day it splits, and there's a run up after it splits. And they said that in their analysis, but then they try to make you think that it is absurd that Tesla is doing the split. There's no absurdity here, ladies and gentlemen. Elon wants a wider base of people owning the stock. Elon was actually complaining when the stock went up to $800, saying that it was overvalued. And us investors was like, Elon, shut your geeky ass up. But the stock kept going because Elon is doing great with Tesla. He's doing great with his rocket ship. And the technology that is in his rocket ship is the same technology they're using with Tesla. So that's why the stock keeps going, because people are investing in this stock for the long run, 10 years down the road. And it's nothing absurd about a stock splitting to get the price down to $250 to $300 so that more retail investors can buy a whole share instead of a fractional share, because a lot of people can afford $200, $300 where everybody can't afford $1,400 in one lump sum. I give the floor to you, Larry.
Yeah, I think that some of these people that are saying the things they're saying about Tesla, and I don't think I think they understand it. Maybe they don't like it, and so they can't fully appreciate it. But the market is different now than it has been in the past because there's a lot more retail investors involved in the market. And what that people say is, oh, well, they're going to get taken. All these Robinhood investors are going to get taken. They're going to lose their money. They're going to be all upset when it happens. There's a possibility of that happening. Anybody who enters the stock market, whether you are a retail investor or an institutional investor, there's a chance that you're going to get taken. There's a chance that you could lose your money or someone else's money if you're playing with someone else's money. But the fact that we have so many more retail investors, the fact that you can go to a brokerage like Robinhood or Webull, and since brokerages like that force the change with things like with TD Bank, and when I signed up with TD, I signed up because it was like, I think it was only $8 a share. I mean, $8 a trade or something like that. And then it dropped to $5 a trade. Now it's $0 a trade. And it's that way across the board pretty much. It's that way with all of these sort of self-service, brokerages, with, whether it's TD or Charles Schwab or E-Trade or whatever some of the other ones are. I can lose them blanking out on them. But as long as you don't need a broker, a broker assisted trade, you're going to trade for free, which means a lot of people say, okay, well, if I have $8,000 or $10,000 sitting in a savings account or a bank account, why not just go ahead and park it in my brokerage account? Maybe I make a couple $100 or a couple $1,000 or hit it big and make several $1,000. And then when I need the money, I'll just pull it out. And a lot of people think that way, and they're using their money that way, and it's become very easy. And some people are really, really good at stock trading, at options, at bond trading, all this stuff. They have time. They're at home. They have time to do it, and they're putting their money to work for them. And I think Tesla is one of those cases where you have a lot of retail investors that are trading Tesla stock. Not all stocks are like that. If you look at a stock like like Amazon or Alphabet, they're so expensive that if I pulled them up on my TD account right now, I'd probably see the percentage that's held by institutions is really high because they're the ones that can actually afford it. And there's a lot of retail people that have bought Tesla in the past. Then it got to a point where they couldn't afford it and they want to buy in. And now when it gets back down to $200 and some a share, they can afford to buy back in. Now, they may not be able to buy in at the same level as some pension fund, but if the stock price drops back down to $300, yeah, you could take $1,500 and go buy some shares, and it's not going to kill you,
Right.
But right now, when the stock is running at $1,400 a share, most people can't go and spend, $14,000 to buy a lot of it. It's just too much,
Right. Right.
And so I think that in the long run, it's going to be good for Tesla. It's going to be good for the investors because it's going to split. The price will drop for a period of time. I think what we'll see is it'll drop and there'll be another run up because all of a sudden that those shares that are $250, $300, people are going to want them and they're going to start buying them. And it's going to drive the price back up. And I would not be at all surprised to see that stock split. I wouldn't be surprised to see that the stock get ran up before it splits. And then when it splits, it actually splits at like 400 a share. And so many people want in on it that it gets driven back up to $500, $600 a share in a very short period of time.
Right. And each and every one of them that we just seen acting like they're not going to buy it, Larry, secretly, they might not buy it for the funds they manage, but their asses is going to buy it for their personal portfolio. I mean, it ain't no question they're going to do that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me give you some evidence into what's going to happen. As you can see, that arrow is pointing to what Morningstar is saying is the fair market value of Tesla, which is $751. So in essence, right now, they're saying it's way overvalued. Now, when they split the stock and get it down to $300 or whatever it's going to be, if they're telling you the fair market is $750, why would you not think that stock ain't going to run back up to $750 probably in a month or two, if not quicker?
To be fair, if they're saying the fair value of that is $750, and it's currently $1,500, or it was $1,500 when that came out. They're saying the fair value is $750. When they split it 5-to-1, that analysis would have to also be split for 5-to-1. So if that thing is saying $750, you'd have to divide that $750 by 5, and that then would be the true value because there's going to be more shares available. So part of their calculation is how many shares are available and outstanding and what the price is and all that. So when you do 5-to-1, you're going to have 5 times as many shares out there.
Well, I still think that the market value is going to be around $750 because, like they said in the video, nothing has changed with the dynamics of the company. So Morningstar is rating the company by all the metrics they use where it's at currently to get you to what they feel like is a fair value for each individual stock. And so I still believe that $750 is still going to be the target even when they split. And it's not going to take any time for the stock to run back up to that number. I think they are tripping. I think they're upset that they missed Tesla the very first time. And ladies and gentlemen, me and Larry are not financial advisors. We're giving you what we do, what we think is going to happen. It's up to you if this is a way you want to use a vehicle to make money, especially an electrified vehicle.
Right. Someone asked me, what do I think the price, how much do you think Tesla will be worth after this happens? If they're talking about like how much the company's worth of the stock price or trade for, I personally think that it's going to open tomorrow. I think tomorrow when the market opens, it's going to open probably in high 14s and probably almost instantly. Well, I don't know. It might open at 15, and once there's pre-market trading, I think it's gonna. I would not be surprised if it opens tomorrow. I'll just say I wouldn't be surprised if it opens tomorrow at 1,500 plus, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if it runs up to $1,700 tomorrow. I think it's going to have a pretty big leap. All the financial analysts and all the financial pundits are all going to say this is crazy. The company hasn't done anything different. This stock is bloated. It's way out of there, and all of that may be true. And all of it may also just simply not matter, because there's going to be a lot of people that are saying, hey, I've been wanting to get Tesla. I can't afford to get 5 shares. But if I go ahead and buy 1 share now, well, on the 21st, that's when that's locked in. Whatever that price is, I believe whatever that price is on the 21st is what's going to be locked in. And then it'll start trading 5 to 1. That'll be the split price there. And so, we'll see. It's going to be interesting. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch it all happen. But I honestly think that I would not at all be surprised to see this thing split at like 1,600. And it's going to end up being the adjusted price will end up being like, whatever that is, around 3 something, like about 325 or something like that, 320.
I personally think that it might go more than 1,600. I'm going to buy maybe 5 to 10 shares tomorrow. The minute the market open, I'm going to buy some. I think it might end up north of 17 on this big news. And then when it does split, it's going to probably take 2, 3, 4 more weeks of a run up. So if you're into short-term profits as well as long-term gains, this is definitely the place you should come and get stocks if you can afford it right now before the split, because you'll take money all the way up to the split. Then when they do split, you'll take money from those who couldn't afford the $1,000 plus price as they're buying into the stock at a lower price.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to get it on Tesla a while back. I didn't because it was too expensive. I have it now because it's too expensive. But I honestly, part of me is thinking like I might just go ahead and bite the bullet and buy 2 or 3 shares. I mean, if I buy 3 shares and it splits 5 to 1, that gives me 15. And I may be able to. I mean, just sitting on the stock for a couple of weeks, it might run up enough that I can sell off enough to cover my initial investment.
Absolutely.
And still have shares. So I mean, maybe I have to. Let's say it runs up and I have to sell off 5 shares. I might be able to sell off 5 shares and cover my initial investment, and I still have 10 shares to hold on to.
Exactly. And
maybe I have to share 10. Maybe I have to sell 10 shares to cover it, and then I still have 5 shares left. I don't know, but I mean, I'm seriously thinking about transferring some money over to my account today.
You should.
So I can buy first thing in the morning and see what happens with it.
You should be ready. And for those of you that don't believe in it, I sold half my position 3 weeks ago when it hit $900. And I was kicking myself because it wound up going up to 15. But I was fine because I had already
17 at one point.
Yeah, I had already made so much money because I bought the stocks for $450. So I was cool. Right. And I bought some Google and some Amazon, some other things. But even with me selling half my position, I'm still up over $7,000 in profit from what I got with selling half my position. I'm still up. So I'm going to buy some more tomorrow with the intent to sell some of those positions when they split, maybe after a week or 2 of it riding, and just take back some of the investment I'm putting in tomorrow. That's my plan. So having said that, ladies and gentlemen, go on out there, get you some Tesla right now and ride the wave. If you can't afford it now, get it when it splits. We're going to switch gears here, and we're going to talk about today. Joe Biden announced Kamala Harris as his running mate. Y'all have heard Larry's opinion. You've heard my opinion. I'm going to give the floor to Larry on this one first. Larry, how you feeling about Kamala Harris as the VP making history?
Man, I'll be honest with you. From a position as a Black person, I'm happy to see a Black woman with that opportunity. I don't think it was the right choice for him to make. I think he had I think he had better choices to make, and the one that he made I don't think it's the right choice. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, is Kamala Harris going to hurt him? Maybe not, but I'm not sure. I don't think she's really going to help him either. I think she's just sort of a zero net gain. She's just sort of neutral because, I mean, some of the people that are excited about her, they were going to vote. They were going to vote for Biden anyways. But here's a part of the problem. One is that she has a terrible record on criminal justice. She's a former attorney general for the state of California, and she has a terrible record on criminal justice. And as we know, our country is in the midst of a bit of a revolution. There are people out there fighting tooth and nail for police reform, for reforms when it comes to racial injustices, for a criminal justice overhaul to begin with. And this all started because you had racist white cops killing black people. And so what do? You say, okay, I'm going to go find me a black person that has a horrible record on criminal justice. And it just doesn't make sense. You have a lot of black people that I've heard from that are saying, I'm just going to sit out. I have a lot of black people that are out there. I know they're out there saying, I'm not voting. There's no reason for me to vote. I'm not going to support Trump, so I'm not voting for him. And then there's people saying that they're just not going to vote because they don't like Kamala Harris and they're not going to do it. And I think that Biden would have been really much better served if he would have picked someone like Susan Rice. I know a lot of people were saying, oh, Susan Rice she's never held elected office. People don't know what her positions are. I think that is a good thing. I think that when you don't know what someone's positions are going into it, that person can say whatever they want to say. They can have their positions be whatever they need to be because they're not on the record for anything. So you can have her, if she needs to be for criminal justice reform, she could be for it. If she needs to be against it, she can be against it. If she needs to be partially neutral, she needs to be for broadening, Obamacare or rolling it back. She could be for whatever it is that she needs to be, because she's not on the record with any positions with it. And for me, I think that is invaluable. The people say they want a progressive. They could make her. They don't know enough about her to say she's not a progressive. So she very easily could be a progressive and no one's going to say anything about it. All they'll say is, well, I didn't know she was this progressive. That's cool. I like her. And that's that, Or you could have picked Tammy Duckworth. Honestly, if it was up to me, which it wasn't, obviously, I would have picked either Susan Rice or Tammy Duckworth. I think Tammy Duckworth would have made a great candidate. She's already proven that she can win since she's in the Senate. She is a straight up bona fide American war hero that has had both her legs blown off. She's walking around on freaking bionic legs. I don't know how much more of just like a all-American feel-good visual that you have to have a Asian American war hero with bionic legs that's in the Senate standing next to Joe Biden running for VP. I mean, my goodness. Just the optics of that are wonderful. And then on the other hand, what do you have with Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris's optics are all bad, in my opinion. I mean, he's courting the black. And I say this, and people are not going to like this. They're going to think that I know one person who's not going to like it at all. That's probably, I don't know if she's watching, but the fact of the matter is, optics matter. And when you're looking out there and you're looking at that black folks in the South and these urban areas in Chicago and Minneapolis and Jersey and New York, and you're looking at all these people out there, all these black folks those votes you're trying to court, you have to remember Kamala Harris is married to a white man. And that is a big problem for a lot of people, especially when you start talking about some of these older black church-going ladies. They don't get down like that. They're like, their question is, why couldn't you find you a nice young black man? That's going to be what they're going to ask. They're not going to be down for that. Now, will they still vote? sure, they'll probably still vote, but are they going to be excited and out there vigorously campaigning? Probably not, you know? And that, I mean, I hate to say it, I want to live in a country where we can vote for whoever we want to vote for, regardless of race or religion or whatever, but we're not there yet. I'm not saying that I'm not going to vote for it because of that reason. What I'm saying is that there are people out there that will either not vote for or they will simply stay home because they don't like what they see. And I know that's probably not going to be a popular thing for some people, for me to say and for some people to hear, but it is the bona fide truth. That is just the hard truth of it. There are people out there, and it's not an insignificant number. There are a lot of people out there that are just saying, nah, it's cool. I just won't vote. My life's not going to change for the better on either way, so I'll just not vote.
I think the people that are going to be more likely to sit out more than the women are going to be black men when you start talking about the fact that she's married to a white guy. Now, ultimately, we're all fighting for equality, and it shouldn't matter. But we are still living in a world where optics matter. Racism has divided us on so many fronts, and that's one of them. And I honestly think that Susan Rice or Tammy Duckworth would have been better candidates. Now, having said all that, I would have voted for a slug stuck in salt before I vote for Trump, because you've seen what we've gotten from him. So I'm still voting for them. But
me too. I'm still voting for him. I'm wearing my Joe shirt. I'm voting for him.
But what we're trying to get from Kamala Harris is something that we can't get from Joe Biden, which is someone who speaks well, which she can do, someone who's a better communicator, which she is, and hopefully someone that can inspire the masses to vote. She was
the problem is she's not going to inspire black people the way that somebody else could.
She might not, but the people that jumped ship, hold on. The people that jumped ship that voted for Obama is what the Democrats are banking on will come back because of their enthusiasm about Kamala. And not to mention, Kamala already had huge donors donating to her campaign, which she can take those funds and put them into the campaign with Joe Biden. I think that's why the Democrats made her the pick. I think it's not just about black people. It's about all those kind of moderate left-leaning whites that left and went to Trump, especially the women, the suburban women, because that's who put Trump over the top the last election. Kamala is seen as a person that can bring them back.
Here's the problem is that I think that if that's great, but if you lose a lot of the black vote, then you're in trouble. You're at risk of not winning. Also, I hate to say it because it's going to sound terrible, but women friggin' hate each other. Women hate each other for whatever reason. They just don't like each other. They always talk. You have certain segments of the population that talk about girl power and women's rights, and they want to move everything forward. But oftentimes women hate each other. And that's why Hillary lost and Trump won, because you had all those women that went out there and decided they didn't like her. They hated some Hillary and voted against her. And as a consequence, Donald Trump ended up winning. And it may not be as consequential because she's a VP and not the presidential candidate, but it's still gonna be that you have to factor in that women hate women. And I don't know why.
I'll co-sign on that, but I've always said if Hillary Clinton was younger and dressed sexy, more women would have voted for her. Had Hillary Clinton been Kim Kardashian, she would be president right now. So you've got that parallel going on where you have smart women who might not be all that attractive, and then you have these just good-looking women, and then you try to meet in the middle, and Hillary didn't meet in the middle anywhere. And Larry is explaining some of the bashing that goes on between women, where you have educated women who, for whatever reason, may not be as quote-unquote attractive as the women who are not educated, and then you've got vice versa, and they hate on each other. But I'm hoping Kamala Harris is the perfect in the middle and can bring those fashions together in a way Hillary was unable to do.
I hope so too, man. I hope so too. I I just don't think Joe helped himself here. I think he might have hurt himself, but at the very best, I think he just did not hurt himself. And when you're in a fight for the soul of this nation, when you're in the fight for this, I mean, literally, I don't think this country, and I say this without any, I don't say this with, as hyperbolic as it may sound. I don't say this frivolously. I really truly believe that this nation cannot survive another 4 years of Donald Trump. And so,
not
and
if
so
he
when
wins,
you're fighting,
hold on, not if he wins not if he wins presidency and the Republicans win House and Senate. The only way we're going to be able to survive is if the House and Senate are won by majority Democrats and then Trump is just stuck. That's the only way we're surviving.
That's highly unlikely. I mean, almost every single presidential cycle, when you have the whatever party the president is from, the down ticket people also do well, because it's just the turnout, that happens. If the Republicans win, they often do well in the down ticket races, the down ballot races, and so it's likely going to happen again. Now
remember Barack Obama. Remember Barack Obama's last term, Republicans took the Senate and the House in his last term.
They took the Senate and the House in the midterm elections. When Barack won, when he came into office, Barack had that both House, Senate,
he won
and the White House.
That's why I said the second time. I said his second term, not his first term.
Well, we're going to see what happens with it. I'm don't get me wrong. I hope they win. And even more importantly, I hope that on the campaign trail, I hope she says and does things that make me feel differently about her. I want to feel good about her as a VP pick. I don't feel good about it right now, but I want to. And so I hope she says and does some things that make me feel good about it. And I guess we'll see. Yeah. I personally, I wouldn't have picked her. I don't think she's going to make a good candidate for president. And I don't think she made a good candidate for president, as is evidenced by the fact that she dropped out before even the first primary. I don't think she would make a good candidate for president in the future. And so part of me is sort of like, if you're going to pick someone that's going to be young, someone that could be the potential new leader of the party, why not go with somebody that's actually going to be a good candidate? Someone like a Tammy Duckworth that could have done that. Someone like a Susan Rice or a what's her name from Michigan. I mean, why not pick someone that really could have done that?
And I love the governor of Michigan, but I think Biden backed himself in the corner, not only by saying he was going to get a woman, but also with all the stuff going on with Black Lives Matters. He probably
said he was going to pick a woman of color.
Yeah, so I'm with you on the fact that I don't think he hurt himself. There's only one person I think he could have, well, two, even though one of these people is going to be an outstanding politician one day. The two people that would have hurt him would have been Stacey Abrams, but for sure the mayor of Atlanta, because she's just a mayor. You would have tried to put her in there. They would have took her to task. They probably would have took Stacey Abrams to task, but she's so smart, she's so intelligent, and she's a great communicator. She would have been able to overcome it. But those were the two picks, I think, on his table that would have probably taken away because they don't have federal, quote unquote, experience.
Well, there's two things with Stacey Abrams that would not have worked out. And I know this sounds terrible, but it is what it is. Stacey Abrams is not traditionally attractive. And
that was the same issue with Hillary Clinton. That was one of the issues with Hillary Clinton.
Okay. So one of the things that we know is people who often win, people who they want to see win, need to be attractive. Barack Obama is someone that women just swooned over. They just thought he was the most handsome person on the planet. They loved his look. They loved the way he moved. They loved the way he talked. They loved everything about him. And some people Donald Trump is an idiot, but people like him because he's a boisterous idiot and he's a so-called billionaire. So people like that. People like the way Bill Clinton looked. People like the way George Bush looked. The people that you
They
need
like
to be
Bill Clinton
attractive.
so much. They like Bill Clinton so much they gave the man head in the presidential office.
Well, there's that too. So there is that too, and that is one of those things that Kamala has going for her. She's a very attractive woman. She is,
Yeah.
no doubt.
Yeah.
You know,
So
and
that's why
some of the other ones
think,
are too. I think Susan Rice is an attractive woman. You know,
right.
she would have been out there too. Tammy Duckworth.
Mm-hmm.
Tammy Duckworth is an attractive woman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's her name from Michigan? Also an attractive woman. Stacey Abrams, not attractive. And she didn't win. And forget the attractive crap. Take that off the board altogether. In my book, you have to win. You don't get to step up. That was the whole thing with Beto O'Rourke. It was like, no, Beto, you don't get to lose a Senate race in your own state and then run for president. Are you crazy? No. How about you go back? He should have ran back because they wanted him to run for Senate because there was a Senate race that was going to happen. He should have ran for Senate and he didn't. And he's probably kicking himself right about now because he should have won that because the way things are turning out, I think he could have flipped that state and he didn't. And he could have been a senator.
He did run for senator against Ted Cruz and lost.
No, that's what I'm talking about. But he lost. And when he lost that race, he turned around and ran for president.
Oh,
but
yeah.
There was another race that was coming up. He could have been in that race. He could have ran for that for a Senate seat in the state again, and he didn't. He wanted to run for president. And that's what I'm saying. He should have run. He should have run for the Senate and said, I'm going to go ahead and try and take this Senate seat. Maybe I have to spend a term in the Senate, and then I'll run for president. Or maybe he just ends up being one of those senators. I mean, the dude's young as hell. Maybe he ends up in the Senate for the next 45 years. Who knows? But personally, I would have rather have seen Susan Rice or Tammy Duckworth, as VP, and then if Joe won, he could have selected Kamala Harris to go to the Supreme Court, and she could have sat on the bench for the next 35 years.
Yeah, well, we'll follow the story a little more on Friday because now we have to start talking about who he's going to potentially put in his cabinet. And there are some heavy hitters that need to be in that cabinet. And we'll break those down on Friday. Program note, I will not be here tomorrow. We're going to take my child to see her grandmother and great-grandmother. So we wanted to just jump up here and let you guys know that there's a great opportunity for you to take advantage of American capitalism, and it's coming up with Tesla. Any closing words you got for the people, Larry?
No, man, just if you're going to do the Tesla thing, I believe it is get your shares by I believe August 21st, because I believe that's when they on August 21st is when the price is set, I believe, for the split. And then the adjusted price will start trading on the 31st. So
Yep. So if you can, ladies and gentlemen,
do it in that time frame.
Right. If you can, ladies and gentlemen, buy some now. Don't wait for the split. Only if you can, and don't let that be money that you can't afford to lose. Having said that, that's going to do it for this video. Don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe, get yourself that life gain, get yourself some Tesla stock. Till that next Sexy as Hell video, we'll see you.
Vote.